So welcome everybody to Marketing Monday with Escrow Options Group. I'm Allie Jackson, your host, and we have a very special guest here, Stephanie Bonte-Lebair. Say hello, Stephanie. Oh,
hi everybody.
Okay, I looked frozen there for a minute. So today we have a real special guest. Stephanie is a vocal expert, classically trained vocal expert singer, and she has also been certified as a bank coach. So she has a wonderful background, and she has taken her unique skill set and brought it together to help everybody with this special session today called Confidently Captivate with Your Voice. And so there are many ways that you can use your voice inflections powerfully so that you can draw attention to yourself and have your listeners hang on your every word. And so we're very excited that Stephanie is going to provide this training session for us today. Also on behalf of Tom Blank and Kimberly Welsh, and I'm Allie Jackson, we are your sales team with Escrow Options Group. We do want to welcome all of you. We love putting on these Marketing Mondays. It's part of some of the many marketing programs that we offer agents in Southern California. So I just want to take a quick minute to mention Escrow Options and all that we do. We provide a lot of great marketing materials like list reports so that you can have free marketing kits at your disposal, as well as Alto's real-time market reports. We're always here to support you in meeting your sales objectives, and happy to have one-to-one sessions with you. And also just from an escrow standpoint, we have 12 different offices throughout 5 counties in Southern California, and we have some of the most talented escrow officers in the state. So if we can help you out with your escrow needs, we are always here for you. And with that, I'm going to bounce this on over to Stephanie and tell us all about your background and how we can captivate people confidently with our voice.
Thank you, Allie, so much for having me on this call today. I know that everybody is super busy, and as you mentioned to me earlier, the real estate market is getting challenging for people. So I appreciate people taking the time to be here. I'm all about powerful communication, and my background is as a trained performer and singer. And I had to learn from a very young age how to sell myself, how to walk into a room and make a great first impression. And then about 9 years ago, I was introduced to the world of business networking. And I realized there were a lot of skill sets I possessed as a professional singer and performer that could translate to the business world to help people be more effective in their communication, more effective when they show up for networking, more effective when they give presentations. And I now am a voice presentation and sales coach. I've been licensed and certified in a method that's based in personality science. I use my own expertise as a singer and performer, created my own method, which I'm going to talk to you about today, to how to be more powerful when you show up and use your voice. And I still love to sing. So I told Allie today that I was actually going to sing for you, because if I'm going to talk about the power of the voice, then I want to share my version of a powerful voice. And ever since I was 3 years old, I have loved to sing. But before I jump into all of that, I want to know that you have a special workbook for today. I give a lot of fantastic information in this presentation, and this workbook is packed full of amazing content and also a place for you to take notes as we go through the presentation today. So if you text the word market to 301-453-8475, you will get a link for this workbook. So you can pull it up on your phone, you can pull it up on your laptop, whatever you want. And it also will have a couple additional gifts for you as well, including I'm going to be giving away a communication assessment. It's a $250 value. Allie actually purchased it from me because she wanted to give it to one lucky person here today. So if you opt in on my text message, then I will enter you to win that communication assessment. And basically what that is the ability to assess, how are you doing with your communication? How are you doing with your presentation skills? How are you showing up at networking? Is it turning into prospects and leads? Are you winning the bids? And then we'll take a look at your marketing, because I'm also certified in a particular method that has an artificial intelligence tool. So we'll just take a look at a few of your marketing pieces, and I'll give you some suggestions on how you can be more powerful in your communication physically, and also in some of your marketing as well. So that is a gift from Allie. So thank her for that, and happy to give one of those away to someone who is interested. With that, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Stephanie, if I can just interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
And Stephanie, if I can interrupt anyone who's watching this on YouTube, because we are recording this and we are going to make it available on our YouTube channel, are they also able to text?
Yeah,
anyone to get a copy of that workbook?
Absolutely. Anyone who texts the word market to 301-453-8475 can qualify for all the gifts. Absolutely.
Wonderful. And also, I see Kimberly Welsh has joined us. So hi, Kimberly. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning. Sorry, guys. I had another appointment and I ran a few minutes late, but I'm super excited to listen. And I'm glad you guys are all here. Thank you.
Okay, now go jump on into your screen share. Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure anyone on YouTube could participate as well.
Absolutely. All right, let me go ahead and start. So today's presentation is how to confidently captivate using your voice. This is for networking, speaking, video, and marketing your business. Of course, I come from a singing background, and so I had to share a little bit of my story. So this is a picture of me at 3 years old. And I love this picture because I just feel like a little star here. I've got my cool sunglasses on. I'm smiling. And this is the energy of me as 3. And when I was 3, I remember singing. In fact, my earliest memories are of standing in the backseat of my parents' green Ford Comet when they had the bench seats. And this is before seatbelt laws were in place. So I would just stand in the back and lean up against the front bench seat, and I would sing nursery rhymes, and my parents would just let me sing and sing everywhere we went. And one time my mom said that I was singing and suddenly it got really quiet. It was late at night. She was driving me home, and I had draped myself over the front bench seat and fallen asleep. I had sung myself to sleep with the sound of my own voice. So this is, this is me. This is what I loved to do. And I actually wrote a show called Stage Dreams and Musical, and it has 9 original songs. It's something that I actually take to conferences. It's 45 minutes long, and it's an inspirational keynote. And this is the very, very first song, I'm going to sing it for you, of my show. And it just shares a little bit about who I am and where I came from. When I was a little girl, no taller than my daddy's knee, I'd sing of stars and friends and rhymes that filled my little heart with glee. When I was a little girl, I learned to make the world a stage where I could shine and share my light, create my dreams at any age. And so I had stage dreams, yearning for big things. And every day I feel alive when I remember the joy that dreams can bring. I just wanted to give you a little snippet of who I am and my voice. And now I have turned my voice from that little 3-year-old singer into a professional singer. I sing on stages. I've performed all over the US, even in Europe. I have turned it into a business. I have facilitated live events, hundreds of live events. I was the managing director of eWomen Network, Montgomery County, Maryland chapter. I facilitated another networking group for a few years. I've spoken on stages as a trainer, as a communication trainer, as a sales trainer. I have taught workshops, and now I have my own virtual international networking group called Empowered Business Networking. And so now I facilitate Zoom meetings just like this with business owners all across the United States and Canada. So it's all about tapping into your passion and what you're meant to do with your voice, of course. And this is my version of it. And now I love to help others like yourself to use your voice powerfully to create the business that you want. So as I mentioned, there are several gifts I want to give today. If you text Market to 301-453-8475, the first is a workbook that goes with this presentation. The second is a free personality assessment. If you came to the Marketing Monday last month, you learned about this technique that I am certified in. I'll mention it briefly today so you know what it is. You can also get a ticket to come visit my networking group because networking is powerful. You never know who you might meet. And I'll also enter you to win a communication audit. So with that, today we're going to talk about the 3 voices you need to be captivating in any conversation. We're going to talk about how to avoid some vocal mistakes that could sabotage your message and your influence. We're going to learn the #1 vocal technique that keeps your audience glued to your every word. And we're going to move from stage fright to stage power when you use your voice, especially if you're giving presentations, listing presentations, or you want to use your voice on video, for example. So I know that that is important for all entrepreneurs. And I'm sure that some of you are already dabbling in this in some way, shape, or form. So let's take a couple polls. And I would love to, you can just type this in the chat box because I like to be interactive. So I pulled the chat so I can see it. So question #1 is this, and it is also on the workbook if you happen to have the workbook pulled up. On a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel about your ability to find consistent, aligned referrals when you use your voice in business, where 1 is awful and 10 is fantastic? So using your voice in any way for business, how do you feel about your ability to find referrals from using your voice? So Krista says a 2. So pretty close to awful. Kimberly, 5, kind of neutral perhaps. Go ahead and type it in the chat. I know there's more than 2 of you here today. Allie, 5, Lena, 4, Tanya, 5. Okay, all right. So we're kind of like midway or a little bit under. All right, good to know. Debbie, 4. Thank you for participating. Now let's move to question #2 then. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about using your voice for group presentations or listing presentations, might be better for this particular group, that lead to more clients? On a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is awful and 10 is fantastic. Any difference for listing presentations? Looks like even worse here. We got 2, 1, a 7. Lena went up to a 7, yay. Allie's 7, fantastic. Or any group presentations. It could be even like speaking to a networking group too, right? 3. Or any kind of group presentation at all, Kimberly. It doesn't have to be a listing presentation. And then poll 3. On a scale from 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about using your voice for online video, where 1 is awful and 10 is fantastic? And maybe you're not doing video. And you can type that if you're not doing video. You can just put that in the chat box. So we got some 2s. Allie and Debbie are 2s. Anyone else? Krista, 8. Yay. I like to see that. Video can be super, super powerful, especially since we're all still pretty much virtual. I mean, yes, we're getting in person more and more, but oh, Lena, yes, I see your message. Thank you for sharing that with me. All right, so we're going to dive in. I'm hoping that what you learned today is going to help you move from under 5 to at least over 5, okay, in some of these areas. Because honestly, I feel like sometimes how you feel about your voice or how you feel about your ability to use your voice to find prospects and close more sales is also related to, do you know how to approach it? Do you know what to do with your voice? Do you know how to show up powerfully in these different situations? So your voice is a tool to move your business forward versus just an unknown, right? There could be some confusion about how to even go forward with it. So let's jump right in. The 3 voices that you need to be captivating in any conversation are your purpose voice, your physical voice, and your mental voice. And I'm going to talk to you about what this means. This is my vocal empowerment method that I've developed over 20 plus years of working with thousands of people with their voice, with their confidence using their voice, and with their ability to have a powerful message as they use their voice. Your purpose voice is what you're meant to say in the world and how you feel about that. Do you feel on purpose? Do you feel intentional about what you're about to say in different situations? This can be something that you ask yourself every single day. And it can even be something you ask yourself in every single situation. So you get up in the morning and you have breakfast with your kids and you're like, what am I meant to share with my kids at breakfast? Or you go to meet with a client and you say, how am I meant to show up with this client today? Or you go on a date with your spouse and you're like, what am I meant to share with my spouse today, right? It doesn't have to be like your grand purpose in life, but it does have to be intentional. Your physical voice is just that. How do you use your physical voice and your physical body to communicate with those around you? And then your mental voice is the structure of your talk and the words you choose to use, the specific words you choose to use. Most people go about this backwards. The reason I put this in this triangle is because the purpose voice is the foundation and everything after that is built upon it. So your physical voice is going to sound more powerful when it's connected to your purpose. And then your mental voice is going to be more clear when it's connected to a powerful physical presence that's based on a powerful purpose. Most people, when they give a presentation or they go to a networking event and they introduce themselves, first they ask themselves, well, what do I want to say? And then they say, well, how do I want to say it? And then they ask themselves, well, what outcome do I want to achieve? And this is actually backwards, because the first thing you should be asking yourself is, how do I want to feel? What's my intention for showing up with my voice at this particular conversation or event? And then having the tools at your disposal for those powerful vocal sounds that you make and the use of your body. And then the words just flow. You don't have to worry so much about, am I going to forget what I'm going to say? Am I going to choose the right words? They're going to make the right impression. All of that is not as important, or it doesn't have to be as stressful as some people make it out to be. So let's jump into an exercise for your purpose voice. And again, if you've got the workbook, this will be really helpful for you in retaining this and being able to use it for later. The purpose voice, you want to be intentional. This is how you are intentional when you're tapped into that purpose. And there are 3 questions I love to ask myself before any time I have an important conversation coming up. Okay, this could be with a friend or a family member, it could be with a prospect or a client, it could be a difficult conversation I'm about to have with somebody who maybe I had a disagreement with. But I ask myself this question: how do I want to feel as I engage in this conversation? And I usually try to keep it to one word. How do I want to feel as I engage in this conversation? The second question I ask is, how do I want others to feel when they connect with me or when they hear me speak? How do I want other people to feel? Because these 2 questions help me show up differently. It's not about controlling other people, right? You can't control how they feel. But when you have an intention behind how you want other people to feel when they hear you speak and how you want to feel when you're speaking, you show up to match that intention. And it seems like such a simple thing, but most people I know do not do this. They just don't. They just go to their next networking event, they go to their next presentation, they go to their next one-on-one coffee date, and they just do the same things they've done over and over and over again, and they're not really setting intentions. The third question is, what is the biggest outcome that I desire from this conversation, networking event, or speaking engagement? Now, this might be a question that you potentially could be asking yourself more frequently than the others. Like, when I go to this networking event, I want to get a lead, I want to get a connection that leads to a client. That could be an intention that you have, an outcome that you desire. But when you go through all 3 of these questions together, you actually have a much more increased chance of manifesting what you truly desire, because you're tapped into the purpose voice. You're tapped into the feeling that you want to create for yourself and that you want to create for others. And this helps you stand out. This helps you stand out energetically and physically when you walk into a room or show up on a Zoom event or however that looks like for you. The next voice is the physical voice, and the physical voice is all about being heard. This is a picture of my nieces. My brother actually has 5 girls. 4 of them are in this picture. And that little boy there in the red jacket is my son, Braden. This is such a great demonstration of using your voice to be heard, because it wasn't enough for my son to stand nicely next to his cousins and just smile. No. He had to raise his hands up with his strong body posture and open his mouth and say, yeah, as the picture was being taken. So you can actually almost hear him just by looking at this photograph. So how can we be heard in a way that works for us? Of course, you don't have to be. My son is extroverted. He loves to be the center of attention. Not everybody appreciates that, but you want to be heard in the way that feels good for you. So let's talk about some mistakes that you could be making that will keep you from being heard in the way that you truly desire. So mistake number 1 is what we call vocal fry. And again, this is in the workbook that I've provided for you today, so you can fill this in if you feel like doing that. There have been studies done on the effects of vocal fry in conversation. And vocal fry is this creaky door sound. So it sounds like this. And it often comes in at the ends of sentences when you've run out of air or your throat kind of closes. And sometimes people choose to have vocal fry as a style for their voice. Some millennials have vocal fry in their voice, for example. But studies have actually shown, in fact, studies done on women specifically have shown that when you have too much vocal fry in your voice, you're considered not serious and uneducated. And this is just like a subconscious thing that people think about you when they hear vocal fry in your voice. Not a great message you want to be sending. It's also taxing on your voice. It inhibits good resonance. It creates fatigue. So at the end of the day, you don't sound as good as you did in the morning. All right. And I'm getting a question about that phone number. So the phone number is 301-453-8475. And maybe Allie can paste it one more time in the chat box if you came in a little bit late. So in order to combat vocal fry, it's about having good breath support. So this is what I teach as a vocal coach. How do you have really good breath support when you speak? And also holding your throat open just a little bit so that it has good resonance, so that the sound you're making actually can resonate inside your body like an instrument. So if you think of an orchestra, you have a piccolo, you have a tuba. They sound completely different, and it's the size of their instrument. So you have some ability to control your resonance. You can actually open your throat space just a little bit to create a warmer sound that sounds good. All right, so this is also something that I teach. We don't have a lot of time to go through all those types of exercises, but I just want to point out some basic, ideas here. Mistake number 2, upspeak. I don't know if you've ever come across someone who sounds like everything is a question. Everything goes up at the end of their sentence and they're never quite done speaking. And you're not really sure where the thought ends because they keep going up with their sound. Downward inflections instill confidence. They create the period. They end the thought. When you have a downward inflection, you are more powerful as a communicator. Most people don't even realize they do upspeak. Upspeak happens a lot when you get nervous too. So if you're nervous and you're presenting and everything kind of goes like higher, so downward inflections are super, super important. The third mistake is incorrect vocal pitch. Oftentimes women will come to me and say, I sound like a little girl. I'm in a man's world. There's a lot of men around me, and I feel like no one takes me seriously because my voice is too high. So that could be one challenge that comes up. It also could be that you've got an incorrect vocal pitch, like you have too much tension in your voice. And so it's changing your pitch a little bit and also making you fatigued. There was a study done on male CEOs, and the ones with the lowest pitch voices made the most money and were able to advance their career faster than those with higher pitch voices. There was another study done on men and women who both lowered their voice to create authority, and they were both seen as more competent when giving expert advice. I don't know if you know the story of Margaret Thatcher, but she was criticized for having a shrill sounding voice. And so she got vocal coaching. She lowered her pitch and she started to speak more slowly and enunciated better. And now she's got a famous voice that everyone, knows when even if they hear an actor emulating her voice, right? It's recognizable. So what is that number one vocal technique that's going to help keep your audience glued to your every word? How do we combat, even if you have a few of these in your voice and you're not even aware of it, what can we do maybe to balance the scales a little bit and have you be more captivating when you use your voice? I'm going to introduce you to a concept called vocal variety. The reason I have a picture of a baby here is because babies don't have words. All they have is vocal variety. They have different types of cries, and parents learn the cry that sounds like pain, or the cry that sounds like hunger, or the cry that sounds like I'm tired. It's all in how they use their voice. So you can change your vocal variety to have different emotion come through and different ways of influencing people. And I'm going to break this down for you because there are 4 P's to vocal variety. Again, this is all in the workbook if you're following along. The first one is pitch. This is how high or how low your voice is. The second is pacing. This is how fast or how slow you're speaking. The third is punch or percussion. This is the rhythm of your speaking voice. So sometimes we recognize, for example, President Obama has a very distinguished rhythm to his voice, right? Like what's that percussion of your voice? And the fourth, which is most overlooked, is the pause. Sometimes you just need to pause. And then people take in that information, they have another beat to think about something, and you make an impression. Also, it could be, the pause can also be or the punch actually could be a soft punch or a loud punch, right? So you can all of a sudden be dramatic and yell something from the front of the room, or you can be really, really quiet and make that impression. I often ask people to practice creating more vocal variety by getting a children's book like Dr. Seuss and pretend that you're reading it to a 3-year-old child. Because the minute you do that, all of a sudden your voice goes a little higher or you become more dramatic in the reading of the characters and you're creating more variety in your voice. So even just practicing with the children's book will have you be aware of what you're capable of creating with the sound of your voice so that you can try different things. The third voice is the mental voice, and this is where we want to use it to be more influential. Okay, this again is the structure of the talk and the words that you choose to use. So I'm going to give you a basic structure for any presentation. Okay. This is super, super basic, but sometimes people just need something so simple. And this can be for a video that you make as well. In fact, I do have another bonus. I gave you a video structure in a couple slides from now. But the structure of your talk, you have to have an introduction. Like, what are we all going to learn today? And why should you listen to me? Like, why am I the expert to teach you this? And then section 1, 2, 3. And I want you to see here, I've got purpose voice, physical voice, mental voice, section 1, 2, 3, and a close, right? And this is where we create whatever outcome you desire. And then the words you choose to use, there are ways to do this for groups, and there are ways to do this for individuals. And they are different because when you're speaking to a group, you have lots of different personalities. Or let's say that even you're speaking to a couple. Hopefully, you're working with couples pretty frequently as you're selling homes or working in the real estate industry, and you'll realize that they have different personalities. And so how you have to present to a couple is completely different than how you have to present to an individual. And it is based on them. What are their values? What are their interests? What are they looking to know more about? And how can you connect with both of them or one of them or a group of them to be able to create influence by the words you choose to use? And this is where I'm going to briefly mention this tool. I had actually done a whole presentation on this last month with Allie. And so if you want to learn more about this, you can get a recording, I believe, of this presentation. So she's happy to share it with you. But I am licensed and certified in this particular communication method that's based in personality science, and it's called B.A.N.K. B.A.N.K stands for 4 personality types. It's based on the same science that every single personality assessment on the market is based on. They're all based on Hippocrates' theory of the four temperaments. He was a physician in 400 BC. He treated his patients differently depending on what temperament they fell into. Ours is called Blueprint, Action, Nurturing, and Knowledge. And we like to share, hey, you've probably taken some personality assessments throughout your lifetime. I know I have for sure. We often are asked, especially with DISC, because I know DISC is used in the real estate industry quite a bit. You've got DISC, D-I-S-C, and B.A.N.K, B-A.N.K. We like to say they're exactly the same, only completely different. And it's the difference that's the game changer. All these other assessments are based in psychology or all about who you are as a person. Ours is based in biology, spelled B-U-Y, the science of buying behavior. We actually don't care, for example, if you're an introvert or an extrovert, because that's not what triggers the yes or tripwires the no in a sales conversation. We created a reverse engineered assessment that quickly identifies the person in front of you and helps you know what to say and what not to say to be more influential and close the sale. And the biggest mistake we tend to make is that we have a primary personality type. So 1 out of 4 times we're saying the right thing, but 3 out of 4 times we're not. We're not meeting them where they are. And it's not about changing who we are as a person. It's about respecting who they are and delivering the information in a way that works for them. And that's what real authenticity is about. So instead of having one presentation when you go to a networking event or a listing presentation or even a coffee date, you really need 4. And you need to be able to quickly identify the person in front of you to know which presentation works for them. Now, you actually are a little all 4. We have all 4 personality types inside of us. The question is, what order do they come in? What's the priority? We call this the B.A.N.K code. There are 24 combinations of B.A.N.K codes. So your chance of actually just being who you are, being yourself, and speaking the exact right code to the person in front of you is only 1 out of 24 chance. And our research has shown that if you know someone's full B.A.N.K code, including what to say and what not to say, because that's what it tells you, you actually increase your chance of closing the sale by 75%. That's a huge difference. So again, you'll have a chance to actually take this assessment yourself if you'd like to. Oh, and this is not, don't text hot. You can, it'll work, but text market to that phone number. Okay. And you will get also a link to take this assessment. It takes less than 90 seconds. Here's my code. I'm ANKB. I'm Action, Nurturing, Knowledge, Blueprint. The first 2 are my triggers to a yes. You speak action, nurture to me, I'm yes all day long. If you lead with knowledge blueprint with me, especially in a sales conversation, I get super bored real quick. I don't care about the details. I don't want to know all the rules and the process. I just want to know if it's going to fit my lifestyle and if it's going to speak to, my community and what I want to create with my family. And this is really, really important, is how you speak to me. And honestly, one of the reasons I love this assessment so much is I want other people to know my B.A.N.K code so they know how to speak to me. Right? It's a little bit selfish on my part. I'm like, everyone should know this is my code. I want everybody to know it at all times, because please, I feel strong enough in my own self that you're not going to be able to hoodwink me. I'm not going to be influenced into buying your stuff, but I definitely want to have the right information to make the decision for myself, right? So speak my language, please, so I know if I want your stuff or not. All right, so now we've got that tool. And again, you're welcome to go watch the full presentation. Allie's got it recorded. If you want to learn more about it, definitely you can take the assessment as one of my gifts today. I'm happy to reconnect and talk to you more about it if that's something that's important. But I also want to just bring this back to the voice. And I want to bring this back to how we can show up and be more captivating in all 3 of these voices put together. A lot of people will say to me, hey, I get nervous presenting, or I get nervous trying to do a video for social media, or I even get nervous maybe having that conversation with a couple about why they should choose me over someone else. So how can you transform that nervousness or that fear into excitement? Because honestly, those 2 emotions are so close to each other. Nervousness and excitement, they run a fine line. And I actually find that it's good for me, especially right before I do a presentation or get up on a stage, if I have a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of fear, because I know then that I'm paying attention and I'm on my game. Because if I feel too relaxed, and this has happened, I've been in many, many shows over the years. I've been, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many shows I've been in. It's quite extensive. But there's been times where I'm like, I got this. I'm not nervous at all. And then I go out on stage and something dumb happens. Like I forget my lines, I forget what I'm doing. I'm just not on it. So you want to have a little bit of that excitement running through you when you're having those really important conversations, when you're using your voice to move your business forward. The biggest thing, and there's really no shortcut here, everybody, is you have to have a preparation and practice routine. And you want to have a preparation and practice routine in all three of these areas. So let's talk about that ever so briefly, because this is also part of your workbook. So we've got purpose voice preparation. So purpose voice preparation, oh my gosh, I just went too far there for a second. Let me back that up. My mouse got a little cray-cray. Okay. Purpose voice presentation can look like a routine that you go through, and it can be like 60-second routine. It can be a 20-minute routine. It can be an hour routine. It just depends on what you're doing and how you want to show up and how nervous you are. All right. But it can look like how you hydrate. Are you hydrated before you go out to use your voice? Have you eaten properly for the day? Journaling. Have you asked yourself those 3 key questions that we introduced at the beginning of the presentation? Do you need to go take a walk around the block? Do you need to do a little bit of stretching? Do you need to do some meditation? Do you need to do some breathing exercises? All of these things are potential ways you prepare to use your voice. Then the physical voice is literally warming up your voice. So as a voice coach, I have dozens and dozens of ways to warm up your physical body and your physical voice so you feel good about the sound you're about to create. You have that open throat position. You don't have vocal fry in your voice. You feel like you've got that solidness and the ability to create the presentation that's going to make the impact from that physical standpoint. And also can be body language. I literally have, as a stage, because I speak on stage quite a bit, not only do I sing and perform on stage, but I also speak on stage. And there's literally choreography that I will put into my stage presentations that help the audience feel good about what they're hearing from me. And this is, some of it's NLP, if you've ever heard of NLP, right? But a lot of it is just common sense. Like, how can you stand with power, with both feet planted firmly on the ground? How can you walk forward to the audience when you're making an important point versus stepping backwards, which makes you feel like you're withdrawing from the audience? How can you use your hands to make that impact? And so practicing your presentation using the right body language can be super important, as well as physically warming up the voice. And then we have the mental voice preparation. So this can be about going over your outline. Like, what was the intro, the 1, 2, 3 key presentation, and the close? What's that powerful call to action that you're inviting people to take? And this doesn't have to be about a presentation on the stage, by the way. This can be a networking event. Okay. You can have this kind of practice for a networking event that's going to lead to power partners that want to support you in the marketplace. And as a facilitator of networking events for many, many years now, and I've done lots of live in-person events, I've done lots of virtual events, I know what works and what doesn't when it comes to showing up, introducing yourself, and either you do or do not have a call to action, which is a key indicator of success, by the way. Most people don't know how to ask for what they want. They don't know how to be clear about who they're really looking to meet. But when they create that and they've got clarity around that and they've practiced it, it starts to generate revenue for your business. So once you've gone through these 3 different areas and asked yourself, well, what is it that I want to do to be prepared? Then it's about practicing it by doing the top 4 revenue generating activities in a business. There is nothing more powerful than this list. If you are spending time in your business doing all kinds of other actions besides these 4 things, you want to stop and assess yourself. Because in a service-based business where you get your clients through word of mouth, where you get your clients through talking to people, the best way you can move forward and build a bigger business is networking, speaking, including doing video, one-on-one conversations, and leveraging your current clients for referrals. If you ever have a week in your business where none of these things are on there, really got to take a look at yourself. Like, really, how are you showing up in your business? Because your voice is your most powerful marketing tool. I don't care how great your website looks. I don't care how great your social media looks. I don't care how many bells and whistles you have online or how many people you have trying to support you from the technological standpoint. If you're not using your voice in these 4 areas on a consistent basis, you don't have a business. You don't, not in a service-based industry. So really start to get clear about, where am I willing to network that's going to serve me the best? Where am I willing to speak, and how am I willing to speak to people, to tell them I exist, to tell them what I stand for, to tell them who I'm meant to connect with and serve? Am I having consistent one-on-one conversations with people every single week? And by the way, this is not about buying a LinkedIn software add-in so you can generate leads. Okay, don't do that. Right? I'm talking about, how are you showing up for speaking and networking? Because that leads to one-on-one conversations. That's where you get your one-on-one conversations. And then leveraging your current clients to send you referrals. That's a powerful way to use your voice, but they have to understand how to support you with that. So this is what I teach people. This is how I take all of the stage, selling myself, knowing how to powerfully use my voice, and I move it into business in these 4 areas to support you and making a difference. So I have a whole separate presentation, and maybe someday in the future, Allie can have me back for your voice on video presentation, because I have a whole thing about how to use your voice for video specifically. But here's what I'm going to give you for today is the basic outline for a video, a powerful video, okay, online. One is you have to have a captivating video description. All right. They have to learn something that they need to know about, right? So captivating title. And then you want to have key 3 to 5 talking points. The 3 is probably better, but you can have up to 5 that speak to their pain and their vision, that speak to what they're trying to overcome and create the vision that they really want, right? So this also can be part of your captivating title, right? The top 3 ways to beat the market in 2022, right? Like something that's going to get somebody's attention. Then you have to create a powerful call to action. A powerful call to action means that they do something specific as a result of watching your video. I really prefer having somebody comment a specific word under the video. That's the action I ask them to take. And usually what I do is I'll give a gift as a result of taking that action. So I'll say, if you would like my captivating networking template, do a hashtag captivating in the comment below, and I'll send you the gift for free, right? So it's connected to building that know, like, and trust. It's not about selling them something on the video, but it is about giving them more. Like, if you love this video, if you feel like this is something you want to learn more about, here's this gift, take this action by commenting below. And then that's how not only do you get them interested in opting in with you so you can support them further, but it helps the algorithms on your videos. Because when people are commenting under those videos, organically the videos rise on both LinkedIn and Facebook, or wherever you're putting your videos on social media. Okay, so literally that's, a place to start with your next video that you create. And then this is a key piece that you want to do ongoing. This should be a core practice in your business, is every time you use your voice, whether it's networking, speaking, one-on-one conversations, or leveraging your current clients for referrals, that you are assessing, how did it go? What went well when I showed up at that networking event? What didn't go as well? Maybe I didn't meet that key objective that I intentionally set for myself. What will you do differently based on what you learned about what didn't go well? I do this consistently. I do this after every presentation. I will do it after this presentation today. What went well? What didn't go as well? What will I do differently next time? I do it after every one-on-one conversation with a prospect who's considering my services. What went well? What didn't go as well? What will I do differently next time? This is such a key part of my core practice every single week, that I'm able to collapse timeframes and grow my business so much faster, because I'm able to identify what's wrong and then change my actions to make it better. And when you're using your voice, especially if you're nervous about using your voice or you're not used to using your voice a lot, this will help you feel more comfortable, because you will have a a picture about what it is. It's not about you as a person. It's not that you stink as a speaker or that your voice doesn't sound great. It's about, hey, this isn't working here. So let's take action to make this better. You're on that journey of evolution. And when you're willing to be on that journey of evolution, you are going to grow. So one last time, for those of you who still don't have the workbook, you might want to have that personality assessment. And you want to potentially win that captivating communication assessment with me, text Market to 301-453-8475. You can get all these gifts. And I will just end by saying that this is what I love to do. I love to help people tap into the power of their voice, tap into the power of showing up, of using their voice as their primary marketing tool in a service-based industry to find who they're meant to support and to be more influential in every single conversation. And so it is my honor to be able to do that with this group as well. And I'm happy to take any questions at this point. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and just jump on in. I would like to comment. I loved your assessment on when you use your voice. And frankly, I've always called that a post-mortem on any campaign or program that I've done. Anytime I've made a major presentation, it makes sense to do it specifically with your voice, but also just in general, what went well, what didn't, with guests that you had on or with technology or what have you. It's always a good sort of post review on what went well, what could be better, and what to do next time.
Absolutely. And it's such a key, a core practice that can help everybody.
We'd love to hear everyone use your voice with questions, but if you're really shy, you can use your voice in the chat as well.
Yes. Oh, this
question.
is a great challenge to use your voice. Yes, Lena.
Hi. Thank you again, Stephanie. My question, very quick, is when I go to networking event, for instance, right now I feel like I'm using a little bit higher pitched voice. When I go to networking events, I often find my voice just got lost, because for me to feel really comfortable, it's a little bit more like a lower pitch, a little more on the coarse side. This is kind of like that. But when I go to those events, my voice is completely buried. I feel like nobody could even sit like next to the person. Like usually events have all this sort of music, whatever, kind of just general background noise. And then I find that really challenging. And then as I mentioned to you, I'm kind of recovering from that previous health issues. And so I find my vocal cord right now it does not have that strength, like really project. So that has been my challenge.
Yeah. And this really speaks to everything that I just shared, and getting clear about how to use your breath more powerfully, Lena, because just listening to the sound of your voice, what I'm noticing is I'm not sure you're taking full deep inhalations. So this is where you create power. The power is from your air. And that combined with how you use that air can create a difference, especially if your voice is feeling a little under the weather, right? If you're recovering physically, the power of the breath is so key to that. So really, you can do a little, it doesn't have to be with me, of course, you can do a little research on powerful breathing techniques. There's lots of things on the internet available. I also have a video series. I'd be happy if you want to email me. I'm happy to share it with you. It's free, on the power of the breath, and, and it's connected to how you feel about it too, Lena, because I also hear underneath it that you're not feeling very confident about it. So that will affect your ability to use your physical voice. And this is why I always start with that purpose voice, is that's where your confidence lies, right? Are you clear about your confidence and how you're meant to show up? Because if that wavers at all, it will just come across on the sound of your voice, right? So they are connected. And so you want to get clear about all those three areas. But I want to thank you for just, sharing that, because you're not alone. You're not alone. I've heard this so many times from different people about how they feel their voice gets lost. They feel like their voice isn't heard. And that is exactly what my mission is, to have people feel, like they love the sound of their voice and they are being heard in the way they really truly desire.
find that when I read some poems or books, like in a quiet environment, my friends actually really enjoy my reading. But when I go to events, then I don't have that.
Yeah, well, it's a
vocal
different
stress
situation. So
project.
yeah, you want to ask yourself, like, what's different here that's making me show up differently? Because it's probably not physical, it's probably energetical. And this is, the core of what I do is I focus on that holistic picture. You have to think about the energy piece as well as the physical piece. So
Appreciate it. I just
yeah.
sent you my email. So
I see that. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sending that.
appreciate it.
Anyone else brave enough to use their physical voice and ask a question?
Yeah.
Or a comment. You don't have to have a question. Sometimes I just like good feedback, What was the aha? What really made a good impression? What's your top takeaway?
I have a question, please. This is Aliyah. How are you?
Hi, Aaliyah. Go ahead.
Yeah, my voice is so bad. I had, little, sore throat before. So let me ask you a question, please, real quick. When I do the video, I just started to do video now, but the only thing I don't like is when I do the video, I don't like my voice, how it sounds, number one. Number two, I use a lot, because I'm from Middle East, I use too much my hands, how to get rid of this. This is my problem. Because when I see the video, sometimes I scratch my hairs. Sometimes I do something like, so this is my mistakes when I do
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable. And I would say this is where the physical practice comes in for you. So you can always be assessing your videos and asking yourself, well, what can I do to reduce the hand motions? And it could be as simple as maybe you've got a cup of coffee or something to put your hands around while you're delivering the video. It can be that you put your hands in your lap so you can really feel your knees or your legs under your hands, and that you're only lifting your hand when you really want to make that point. But it's all about intentionality, and it's about awareness first. So first of all, you have awareness. That's a great first step. Not everybody has that awareness. Once you have the awareness, now you can assess it. You can take steps to try to find the ways that work for you in helping you feel better about how you're showing up physically. And it's always good to have feedback from other people. You can ask other people, well, hey, what do you think of this video? And sometimes what you think is a problem isn't as much of a problem as you might think, right? So if you're not getting a lot of feedback from other people that say, wow, your hands are all over the place, maybe it's not that bad. So,
yeah, I had feedback, but being very close to the camera, they said, please be a little bit far from,
Yeah, you see how I framed myself in my video here? I'm not too close. I've actually put my laptop up on a block and away from myself a little bit, so I get that nice frame, and I use a microphone. So here's another way you can help, obvious tip to have your voice sound good is have a professional microphone. And you see here, it's right by my face. Okay, so it's not about having it down on the desk. Is actually finding a way to have it close to your face. Now they make microphones that also are long and can come up from the desk to your mouth, but I like the boom mic because I can move it away. I have some, see, I can go like this and move it away or move it closer if I want to. So this just helps me amplify my voice, and especially in this Zoom environment, you don't want to have that weird, technology is going to happen anyway. You're going to have glitches and all that, but at least this reduces the chance that people are not going to be able to hear or understand me. So just, you might consider that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
That was great. I'm just saying, I agree with both the ladies. I struggle with both those issues sometimes. For me, I talk very fast when I have to get up in front of people, and I know that's probably a nervous thing. But so this was amazing. Honestly, that was my aha moment for me in your class today, was everything about the voice. I mean, it was the inflections, how we speak, just the intention of it. For me, sometimes I get lost in the moment and my voice becomes a like vomit bunch of words. So
Yeah. And it's true when you say nervous energy can bring all those challenges forward. And so this is where, yeah, getting intentional about how you want to feel when you show up to use your voice can help you combat that, transfer that nervous energy into excitement,
I have another quick follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The call for action, you gave it very good example. Is any other example you'd like to share?
Yeah, the call to action. So I recommend that you always have a gift, especially in a networking environment or an online sales environment, that you're always giving a gift as a result of a call to action. And there's a couple things you can do to make it more interesting. You can have a limiter. So you can say, I have 2 free tickets to my next webinar for the first 2 people to send me an email and drop that in the chat box, right? Like that can be a quick way just to get the first 2 people that really resonate with your message to say, yes, I want a ticket to your webinar. So you can give a workbook. So I gave a free workbook, right? So it had a lot of content in it that is supportive, but it's also a marketing piece, right? It has my contact information on there. So now people can go take action if they want to. I gave a gift on that workbook. So you can come visit my networking group. We're in 17 US states and Canada, right? It's a $47 ticket, by the way, and that's a real gift. People, when they find my event online, pay $47 to attend. So I'm giving you that value. So I'm telling you how much my gift is worth. And that's a piece for your call to action too, right? So if this webinar is worth X amount, or this gift is worth X amount, you want to say what that is. And then you want to make sure that your gift is in alignment with your ideal client. Like, what does your ideal client need or want, so that the gift makes sense for them, right? And so because I am all about communication and I talk about networking, speaking, one-on-one conversations as being the ways you build your business, that's why I have a networking group too. And that's why that gift is available for all of you, is because this is a place you can practice using your voice. And I facilitate my events in a way that's very clear on how to be more effective when you network. Because one of my missions also is to help people who do a lot of networking, but don't get a lot of results, right? So make sure that gift is in alignment for your call to action. Does that help, Lena?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Since you're talking about a gift, why don't you talk about today's gift that Escrow Options is providing?
Yeah, so I have a communication assessment that Allie purchased for one lucky person. And basically, we're going to take a look at how are you using your voice for your business? How do you feel about it? What are some things that you feel challenges around? Where can we explore where you might have some holes missing in how you're showing up using your voice? I also take a look at your marketing. So you can send me a couple of marketing pieces, including your LinkedIn profile, your website, or maybe you've got a postcard you're sending out. Who knows? But I've got a tool, an artificial intelligence tool, that actually tells me which personality types are attracted to your marketing. So I can let you know from that bank perspective that I mentioned before, maybe you're missing a couple of those personality types and you don't even know it. So I can give you some suggestions on how you might fill in those blanks. So that assessment, I do a pretty in-depth assessment of your business. So it's a $250 gift. And if you go to my website, that's what you'd pay if you wanted to sign up for that. So I'm happy to give that. And basically I will do a raffle, or I will draw a name from anyone who has texted the word market to that phone number. So if you have already sent that text in, you're good to go. And what I'll do is I will send an email to everybody. I like to go online and do that wheel of names so that it's fair. Okay. So I put everybody's name on the wheel of names and I spin the wheel and the winner gets the gift. And then I'll reach out and let you know you won. And, yeah, I'm just happy to support in that way if it feels like a good fit for you.
Did we want to do that drawing at the end of the week? So anyone
Excuse me, please.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I joined late, so I don't know what is this. How can I do that?
Yeah.
How can I join the?
You're going
drawing?
to text the word market to, and I'll type it again in the chat for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I just popped it in the chat.
Okay, there you go.
Thank
Allie
you.
just dropped it in the chat. Text market to 301-453-8475.
And so if anyone watching this on YouTube wanted to text you as well, when did you want to do that drawing, Stephanie?
Yeah, I can, if you would like, I can do the drawing on Friday if you want to give it a couple days so people online can take advantage of the gift too. And then I can, I'll record it. I'll record myself doing it so everybody can see, and it's all on the up and up.
Awesome. That's
And
great.
for anyone who wants to get a rewatch of this, we'll have this up tonight. And Kimberly entered our YouTube channel in there so you can watch last month's Marketing Monday with Stephanie if you want to learn more about the bank personality codes, or if you wanted to just have a rewatch of today's session, that will be up there tonight. And,
As well as a
several
few
of our other Marketing Mondays as well.
Yes. Yes. Allie's been kind enough to load us some of our past ones. So please feel free to explore our YouTube page.
And go ahead and like it, and you can hit that little bell, and then you'll get
Yeah.
notifications when we upload new videos too.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I just wanted to comment on what a wonderful presentation this was, how informative. And now that we've got our PIVOs, could this be a more accurate time to have this? Period. This was really just perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. We're so glad you were able to come and join us today.
I try all the time and this darn
know you
business
do.
gets in the way. Everything I do with you guys is always really, really helpful. So thank you for doing the efforts.
Thank you. We love you.
We love
We
you
love
too.
all our agents on here. We're so glad that you guys took the time to come and join us this morning.
Thanks
And
for
I know
having me.
sometimes client needs do come up, so we will continue to load these up on our YouTube page. So if there is a session that you really wanted to see and couldn't catch it, just check out the YouTube page, and there might be some very interest. In fact, we talked a fair bit about using your voice on video, and there's a special video marketing series that Melody Tao did. That's all available on our YouTube channel as well. So I encourage you to check that out. And Stephanie mentioned she does a special session on your voice specifically on video. Is there an interest in that? Go ahead and pop that in the chat, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, just put that in the comments that you'd be interested in that, and maybe we'll be fortunate enough to get her back again in the future. Any other questions today? I think that's a wrap then. I want